That's right. Well, being like Dionysus puts lots of tasks on my hands.
Like what?
Like like well, in the Dionysian specific, I would say the task would be to meet the other in me, really come to terms with the other, the other that I don't know I am. I also am,
Yes, the many in me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That would be the task if I am Dionysian, as you said. It's not an excuse. It's a huge work, right?
Insofar as it
have ahead.
Yeah. Insofar as it is, yes, that's a huge psychological work. Yeah, that's
work for a lifetime, Pat.
That's very good. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So this whole polytheistic, way of thinking, and I think it's that we gain through this going south that Hillman.
Yes.
It's for me, it's the jewel of here, because. Yes. It's and it's still, after 35 years after my first reading of those ideas, it's still alive for me, because I think the task of getting rid of a monocentric thinking is never. It's always going on, this myth of the center, people are always engaged somehow in knowing what's the point of something, of the center, as if there was just one point and it would explain everything. This is, for me, it's a huge psychological error,
A way that it's helped me too, which is almost the opposite, although I agree totally with what you're saying, is that it gives a place for something that's monotheistic without my fighting it. It's like, let's say that's the Zeus. That's the part of the multiplicity. That's the one that thinks of center. That's the one that thinks it's in charge.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a Zeusian fantasy, let's say.
Zeusian fantasy, yes.
Yeah. And there's got to be place for Zeus.
Well, he's all, it's all over the place. It's too much all over the place, which is why we love the polytheism. But this puts it in a place. Do you see what I mean? It's not, it relativizes it, and yet I did a lot with Gigerik and all that stuff for the last couple years, and he has a very logical centered psychology. He's brilliant, but it's logical and it's mono. It's a monocentric kind of psychology. Reason is the God.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. What is the God? Reason.
That's one of them. And that's certainly the way it works with him. For somebody who's more spiritual, it may be the one God that is only one God, but so, when somebody's talking that way, oh, they're in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, Pat, all those ideas are so brilliant, so nice, so interesting. But still, I think that the most interesting thing is for us as psychotherapists, is to really feel and see how all this we are talking about falls into psychotherapy.
Yeah.
You know your essays, all your books have to do with it, right?
No, I'm all about psychotherapy. I do it every day.
Yeah, but you do. I think you do a psychotherapy of differentiation.
Yes. With always the individual character in the middle, the one that I'm focusing on, the person, to see who the person is. Like I did the thing just now with Jung versus Hillman. They're different characters.
They're different characters, yeah.
So you do a psychology that uses the daimons in the person's character. You know, you don't tell them they should have a different God.
No, what do you do then? You go deeper with what is already there?
Deeper with what is already there. Yes, as you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and the there that you think is, I mean, it takes perception. You're looking for, where's the God in this person, or what's this character? You know, Jim's book on character.
Yeah.
Looking for, where's the daimon in this person? Who is this person?
And also, what can we do with this character?
How
can we make it, you know,
how can we serve
character? Would you say that?
How can we what? I missed that.
How would we make this character a better character?
Yeah, deeper or fuller or whatever that character needs in order to thrive. In order to thrive like an animal, in order to be its full being.
But basically accept what is there.
Yep.
Is that it?
But I guess by focusing on character as Jim did with the daimon, it's trying to look at what the genuine character is too. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, many years of my life, I was being different character than who I am. You know? Yeah.
You mean a changing of characters?
Well, or getting to the deepest character of you.
I see. Yeah, I see. Ever deeper.
Yeah, I mean, I came from an ordinary psychology background in the United States. It's very different. That's who I thought I was. Took me a long time in Zurich to find out, partly through Raphael, what really excited me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what really.
So you see that as a change of character?
No, as a finding more and more. I think as we get older, we find more and more who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And try to make the most of that. I mean, it's like that's a gift to us. That's a unique thing to us to serve the God in that. To make of that the most that one can make of it. And that's, that's what Jung, well, I won't put it into Jungian language because I don't want to mix us up.
Yeah.
But for Hillman language, it would be about the daimon.
The daimon, yeah. And the daimon, and would you say also the healing fiction?
The healing fiction. I don't know.
I mean, the fiction that heals, you know, the more you get in contact with your character, with your daimon, the more you are healing yourself. Because, it is a fiction. I think you agree this is all.
It's everything's fiction,
right?
Yeah, but there's some, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the word healing, as Jim wasn't sure about the word healing. Because healing, I mean, he would say, puts us right back into a medical fantasy. And yet...
Well, but I understand what you're saying, Pat, but we can still use the words like healing, cure, without the magical imagination.
Yeah, he wouldn't, but we can if we know what we're doing. I mean, that's how we take Hillman on, I think. That's how we further him.
Yes, that's how we further him, yes. And still the notion of healing, the notion that there is always something to heal in ourselves.
Oh my God, yes.
Right, it's very important, don't you think, Pat?
Oh yes, I do think. Yeah, and feeling the infirmity in ourselves.
Yes, healing the infirmity. And we know the infirmities are given with the archetypes themselves.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I think it's a very nice idea, like the healing fiction, you know, and the whole healing imagination that you are doing things to heal, you know. Well, I think this is a very interesting way to imagine your process.
You know, rather than, because I'm still stuck with Hillman, I'd still probably rather use the word enriching. Enriching the wound so that one can do more with it.
Well, that's a very nice word too. Of course, it's a very nice word too, enriching. Yeah, but healing for me doesn't leave out the pathology, the wound itself, you know.
Then it's okay. This is such fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the axis.
Okay.
North and south, and you know, I really think that this south direction that he mentions and that he suggests has everything to do with leaving the abstractions, leaving the abstract ways of you know, living and thinking about yourself and doing therapy and you know, right. And this is still so much important on, you know, nowadays as we see what is happening in the world, Pat, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, what happened in Paris a month ago, yeah. I think it has to do with this, don't you think, in a way?
Oh, it's so complex. You know, so much is looked at on a socio-political level in our culture. So much is looked at sociologically, which is terribly important. But I also think, and this is generally when I'm thinking about race and in the U.S., all the racial problems, that it's awfully important to look also in a depth psychology way, which means looking at the complexity, looking at the conundrum, looking at the contrary things within every problem. You know, so for me, it makes life more complicated looking at events in the world. I mean, because we don't usually really get to the event. I mean, we get to the news about the event.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'm interested in all the psyches in the event. I'm interested in the U.S. I'm interested in the Black community. What's going on there? What's going on with the Black community and the police? What is, you know, what all that, what that image is all about, what the complexity of two cultures meeting like that is about.
Yeah, I think this comes to our team and to our discussion because one aspect of, you know, this going south that Hillman suggests has to do with, you know, overcoming white supremacy.
Yes. Yes.
And well, that's what you're talking about. That's
one of the things I'm talking about.
In the United States, in Brazil as well, you know.
You have white supremacy movements in Brazil as well.
Well, not as you have in the United States, but I mean as an imagination, you know, that white is superior. Yeah.
Yeah, or certainly in Europe they have it hugely. Yeah.
Sure, and what we see happening with this, you know, terrorists events, for me, thinking, you know, psychologically has everything to do with this, don't you think?
Well, no. How do you think? How do you think?
Because it is well, maybe this is too simplistic, but it's a way to see an attempt to overcome white supremacy.
Through monotheism?
You know, yeah, yes. Hillman himself, he said something in Revisioning Psychology that, you know, something would come from the other side of the mountain. And the other side of the mountain is not only the other side of the Alps, but it comes from, you know, Muslim culture, Latin American culture, Caribbean culture, you know.
Yes, I mean, with the Islamic terrorists, I just, you know, I think they're totally in a monotheistic fantasy, though, and that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem. Yeah. And I think the way Germany is particularly reacting, and cultures that are bringing in, you know, people that are wandering around as immigrants now without a country. I think that's a really healing move, because it is creating more of a mix. I mean, you talk about miscegenation, however you say that word.
Miscigenation.
Yes. It's just
miscegenation.
That's what it is creating by taking in many different cultures in different countries, don't you think?
Yes. I do agree. And I think miscegenation can be a nice answer to white supremacy.
At least a start of an answer, yeah. I mean, the more it connects, the better.
Yes, at least a start. And this, you know, touches cultural issues and psychological issues, and also psychotherapy. It touches psychotherapy as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How are you thinking?
I mean, this all comes from this idea. This all comes from this idea of humans of going south. You know, that's why the more I think about it, the more I see how important this shift in the axis of our thinking, you know, going south is important.
For me, it's mixed. Probably, but see, I'm not Brazilian.
Yeah, because we are here in the south, you know.
Yeah.
So we start in the south.
Right. So how does
why is not as I can see it's not as important to you as it is for me, for instance. Can you say something why it isn't so?
Because there's a lot of Souths. I mean, if we're going to spread it around the world, everything, and I'm wondering if South isn't really more about the equator. I mean, that it's cultures closer to, within a certain distance of the equator that have a certain, that are connected with certain climates as well. That makes for the kind of richness you're talking about. And there's also shadows to it. I guess that also stops me. I mean, in the South, in the U.S., I mean, there are terrific shadows, and yet there's wonderful things in the South of the U.S.
I see. I understand. So you are worried about the shadow of the South, and
I don't know about worried, but I think it should not be left out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I thought there was still something in the East that would appeal to you.
In the East, well, I like in the East. I like the letting go aspect of the East. I like the ability to see through. I mean, Hillman would call it seeing through. I like seeing through, and that's a particular, at least for Eastern Buddhism and Taoism, that's an important thing to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate those qualities a lot. I appreciate those practices.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, other than that, I don't know that I want to go east. I want richness wherever it is, richness and complexity and multiplicity and seeing through wherever it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Richness. I think the point is richness, right?
Well, yeah. And the South, what this kind of South I'm talking about excels at that.